Welcome to Eco. It's been quite a while since I played this game, so I decided to start a second season of it, and there's been quite a few updates as well, and fixes, particularly the vehicles. The vehicles are really causing me problems the last time we played this. Anyway, let's get started, and if you are new to this game, or indeed to the channel, feel free to stay a while and listen. I'm not even doing an old man impression, but that's my Diablo 3 content for the day after playing Wolson. There is a review yesterday of Wolson, by the way, if you want to take a look at that. Anyway, new game it is. And we have a few options. So you see here when you first get into the game, if indeed you have it, it's on sale quite often. I need to check what the price is, but it's not very much if I remember rightly. You can play multiplayer, and multiplayer is usually advised because in my case I'm recording and I have different schedules. I'm not able to do multiplayer, but you can play it in single player mode just as well. Anyway, multiplayer mode is a much longer game requiring lots of collaboration between different people, and basically usually the end goal is, well, in fact I'll tell you, always the end goal. Always the end goal is to stop a meteor that's going to be coming in and destroying your world. But you end up destroying your world by stopping the meteor, so you have to keep everything in balance, hence the word eco. For example, hunting all the buffalo, you kind of may drive them extinct. Not a good idea. In any case, lots of options for players, and you'll see there's various options here, for example. So you've got players in a new world with other beginners, established cities, experienced citizens in a highly collaborative world, and you can click on browse all here to see them all, etc. Stuff like that. I'm not too concerned about that, so let's go to new game. And we'll go all the way to the right hand end, and you can say host a private world. So I'm just going to start a new world called the Greater Star, or let's just say Grey Meteor, let's just call it. Okay, no collaboration, 1 to 3 players. That just means it ups my skill rate quite significantly, and that's going to be useful. I'm not going to allow friends to join because I want to be recording. Definitely want to create a meteor, and I'm going to generate a random landscape. You can see the actual number here, and you can edit it yourself. Impact days is left to the standard 30, and press start. Yes, generate a random world. I'll see you once that's actually finished. And here we are in game in our randomly generated world. We got some buffalo, we got some sand, and a nice horizon, nice looking game. Okay, so first thing we need to do when we get into the game of Eco is basically head towards a forest. You're going to need trees, and lots of trees. They are going to regrow if you're in single player. In multiplayer, it takes a while for them to regrow. So again, forest is always good. So while you're actually running around, just go and pick up stuff from the floor. Particularly looking for things like rice, for stuff like beets and other bits and pieces. Basically, food. You are going to need food in this game. It is not just there we go, beets. You can see it down there. It's not. In fact, food is extremely important. It determines how many skill points you get. The skill points determine, well, all kinds of stuff. We'll come back to that in a minute. Oop. For a minute, let's just head down here, but we're definitely going to need a forest to get started, and let's just get these beets. Beets are kind of an ideal food for the first tier that we've got. Not ripe enough to harvest, that's fine, and we'll get some rice as well while we're at it. That's going to be useful, well, at least for one of the actual quests it gives you. And then we're also going to need some of these. We got some prickly pear fruit. Okay, and let's head over to the forest. So you're going to want to put your starting hut that you get given somewhere near a forest, because you are going to be running backwards and forwards to go and get trees. And you're going to want somewhere fairly open to actually put this. So this seems sort of ideal. It's right next to the forest. And you can see there's a whole bunch of trees available. The undergrowth will slow you down, by the way. So depending on what your undergrowth is, there's lots and lots of trees there. So I'm pretty happy that I've got such a randomly good world. So what we're going to do to get started, that's a wolf, and thankfully they don't attack you, they just run away. We are going to want to put our camp down. So if we have a look here, there is a few quests. The meteor, find the meteor in the sky. We can't see it at the moment, but it will come over maybe once the sun comes down, or is that the sun or the moon? It's not very bright, but then this is a monitor. And there we go. So setting up camp. So here we have some objects in our backpack by pressing B, grab the starter camp out, and also the land claim we don't really need because it's single player, but if this was multiplayer you would want the land claim, so I'm going to put this down just as if it was multiplayer, just so that you can actually play that. Press 7 And then we can put our starter camp wherever we like. Now, I think this is in an update. I don't remember this particular camp. Anyone who's played it a long time can tell me, is this actually new? But let's get started anyway. And let's have it around somewhere. So I'm going to put my starter camp, I'm going to say there. Okay. And inside we've got a bed. We can fast forward with a bed. And the name of this area is called Greatest the Fourth. And we got a small sort of, well, not really a workbench, but we are going to get to a workbench soon. Fine, so we've got a tent. That's going to get us started. Nutrition meter unlocked. Fine, it's because I picked some stuff up off the floor. That's exactly what we want. And I'm going to just press next and get through this. You'll see the bottom left of the screen, there's this circle. When this circle is out to the edge, your nutrition meter is full, and when it's all the way towards the middle, it's empty. As soon as it empties completely, like kind of like Stardew Valley and stuff like that, when you have an energy meter, yeah, when it empties, you can't do anything apart from pick up food from the ground. So you are going to need to manage that. It's not going to be too hard, but on a multiplayer server, it's a lot harder because you can't really just skip forwards because everyone is in the game and you can't just go to sleep to gain some stuff. So we are going to want to then do a few things. First of all, it says mouse over the food in your toolbar to examine its nutrients. So press tab and then we can just hover over things, and we're looking for basically that. And it says eat food containing all 4 of the food groups. I think beets do. So we're just going to be able to eat one of the beets. And you'll see that circle got a little bit larger. Also, task is complete, so that can go away. And it says you can sleep at any bed, including the one inside your starter camp. Try sleeping for a bit to pass a bit of time. So here we go. Let's pass a little bit of time. And real time pass. You can see the sun is going over. And you can see that is changing. Okay, so let's wake up. And it looks like I'd spotted. That's hit wake up. Ah, I don't want to pass any more time. Oh no. What's basically happened is this is the intro you see when you look at the meteor. So the meteor must have literally come over and I spotted it, and that interfered with me pressing the wake up button. Wonderful bug, but it's presumably over there somewhere. Anyway, that whole introduction is basically to tell you that the meteor is coming in 30 days. That's how long you have before everything gets destroyed, so you have to stop it before then. And to do that, you have to build yourself up from nothing into pretty much an industrial civilization. If you're in a multiplayer world, in a single player world, you have to build yourself up into a multiplayer, an industrial civilization, and get going that way. So to get that done, we need to get a few things done. You see here, open the map. Let's get that done as well. And here's our world. It's quite pretty. And you can see we have a huge forest there right there next to us, and there's also stone, which we're going to need as well. Okay, and then it's going to basically show us that we have an environmental panel. And here's where we get into the eco side of things. Each of these things does affect various things in the world. For example, we can see pollution, like air pollution, which we have none at the moment, but that's going to change. Plants, so we can see population of certain plants. That again will be quite useful, and also for farming and stuff like that. You want to put plants in certain areas and stuff like that. And then there you can see we have different animals that we can go and hunt. Fine, that's okay. And then go into markers. Yes, so I can drop a marker or remove the markers from the map, but I can drop a new one. There we go, it's unnamed. And let's just go over here. And I should be able to, well, I don't need to be on here, do I? I need to just zoom into the map. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. And then I can name it. So if I name it home, we'll set a color. So let's go for green. And that should be okay. Close that. Yep, there it is. And wherever I am on the world, I'll be able to see the distance to home. Very useful. You do already get one by default with your starting camp, but that's not important. And now tutorial. So navigation to the, okay, so the authorization tab. That's just really something for the multiplayer. So authorization, you basically add other users here if you want to play together. And I definitely recommend that if you are going to play multiplayer, play it together with other people or a few people working together. It's quite enjoyable. I thought that did authorization, clicking the... what was that saying? Clicking the property name. There we go. Yeah, let's just get rid of that. Okay, and into the actual game then, hopefully. Yeah, there it goes with the starting tutorials. So it's basically going to get us get some tools into our inventory, and I'm also going to be able to dump some of this food. So if we go in here, you can see a storage area that we're going to be able to swap stuff out with. So I'm going to swap out the tools like this. Let's just get that and the hammer. The shovel. There we go. And I think that's all the things I actually need. We can get that land claim and land claim spike as well, and that will let us complete the land. Yeah, okay. So there's a few quests we should just get rid of. One is digging. Yep, you can just left click to dig and put it back down again. That's perfectly fine. That gets rid of that quest. Now we're going to need to drag the stone axe and select it. It's going to tell us to go chop wood, I imagine. It's going to be fairly easy. So let's say we want to choose this one. Chopping wood is straightforward, just like any game. I think it's usually 8 hits with a stone axe, but it gets better later. And you can see the circle at the bottom left is decreasing all the time. When it falls, you get lots of this basically, yeah, wood, miscellaneous wood, sort of, that you can turn into wood pulp. You also are able to get seeds back from it, and you'll be able to plant more trees later. But we can break up the tree into manageable pieces and then pick those up. You're only going to be able to pick up about 20 logs at one time, but you can see all this other stuff that we're going to have to collect and get sort of sorted. Now, we do have this storage area, but that's not very big. Yeah, so we have a tiny stockpile right here where we can store all of this just by right-clicking, but we are going to want something better than that. So let's just create ourselves a workbench and press order here on the crafting section of your campsite, and it'll create your first workbench. Don't think that you only need one. You may want to have multiple workbenches because they can work in parallel, so do consider that. However, the workbench is going to get started, and that will work independently of where you are. You can walk away and come back later, and it's not a problem whatsoever. So let's wait for that to finish, and that should be 7 seconds, and we can take a look. One of the next things you're going to want to create from that is probably a larger sort of storage area, a larger stockpile than this. In the meantime, however, I'm just going to basically go to the spike, which is the thing that shows me my land. You can see there. And you can see I can highlight areas in yellow, and that is based on the number of these land claim papers. You can earn more of them in a multiplayer server, but in a single player server, they really aren't all that useful, but I'm going to use a few of them there so you can just see that I have some land, basically. There we go. And basically anything on your land is basically marked as private, so that is quite useful. And I'm just going to basically dump that back in here. I don't need it for now, so let's just dump those in there, not in the stockpile, in the campsite. And there is my workbench. So let's grab that. And let's put it down somewhere. You can always move them later, so it doesn't matter where it is for now. And you see a whole bunch of other stuff that we can make. There you see, place down a workbench, find the hewn log recipe, select it, and number craft and click order. I think we're going to go for 4 to get started with, so hewn log. You can just select over here, type in 4, and the number you actually create is over here as well. Some recipes create multiple from the 4 input, or, you know, for 4 over here, we generate 8 over here. Not this one, so let's get that started, and you'll see that's just going to start processing. While that happens, I'm just going to continue to chop some more wood. And we'll just dump that into our base stockpile of everything else. And at this point, it's going to basically going to want us to create our first house. Okay, the house and the food are both important. So you see down here at the bottom left of the screen where your energy meter is. We're going to see a new area opening up once I've built a house there. That basically, the combination of the food you've eaten and the house quality, as well as how you've decorated it, determine how many skill points you get. But you can't see it just yet. It'll expand into this area at the bottom left. Fine, so let's just dump you all in here. And that may seem like a large pile of wood, but it really, really isn't. Trust me. And we want the hewn logs, so I can just grab them from storage. And there we go. So that's that quest done. And now it's going to say, hey, you need to build a house. probably. Yeah, many crafting stations require enclosed rooms to work. Building requires both a hammer and a material, and you can shift scroll wheel to do it. Okay, and then just some rules. So the rules for any kind of enclosed room are that you need to have a roof, and that needs to have no holes in the roof whatsoever, but there can be holes in the walls. Importantly, the holes in the walls can be 1 by 2 tall or 2 by 1 wide, so like a window shape or a door shape. And I'm just wondering how cheaply I can get away with this. So if I shift scroll wheel, I can build different shapes using the hewn logs. And for example, I can build a house, and let's just say we want a house, I don't know, around here or something like that. So let's just put it down 1. And if I put something like that, you can see we have a door shape, or indeed if I knock that block out and put it there, it would be a window shape. Those are perfectly fine. What I want to know is if that actually counts, if there's a maximum number of those, because it's sort of highly more efficient to actually do this if I don't need to put all the walls in, at least to get started, and that just saves me a lot of time. So I'm going to need to make a lot more hewn logs, clearly. So let's just make 22 of them. Whoops, 11 of them, sorry, my mistake. And it's going to make those while I go and chop wood. I'm going to basically cut forwards because you don't want to see me continually chopping wood, clearly. The other thing you're going to want to do is, while you're thinking about chopping wood, you're also going to want to get some rock. Now, you can make caves into rooms, but they don't have a lot of quality to get started with. So you may want to start with something else other than, you know, like sort of a cave in the wall, similar to your Minecraft sort of thing, just by basically getting some stone. And we're just going to basically hit that twice. It's going to break into multiple pieces, and every time it's yellow, hit it again, basically. And there we go. Okay, and I'm going to want this because we're going to want to make a campfire, and we need some stones for the campfire. The campfire basically enables the crafting of various items of food. Yep, so that's 15. I can carry 20, I think, but 15 should do us. And I need to get 3 more, so let me just put that down for a second. You can stack it wherever you like, really. There we go. So, I'll do it from in here. Campfire. We need some processed stone. So we need to process the limestone we just picked up into regular stone. So let me just basically process all of that. Okay, and that's going to build back up into our stockpile here once it's actually processed. You can see 3 there. So then we're going to be able to go and select it in here once it gets to 12, and we should be good to go. So I will fast forward that. When you get the campfire, place it down just like we did with this workbench. We'll put it out here or something like that, and then we should be able to cook some food. For food, you just need a few logs and whatever you're going to cook. In this particular case, we want those beets that we picked up. That's a really good source of food to get started. So there we go, we've got a campfire. Let's just put it down, and I'm just going to grab 3 of these logs that I didn't put in the stockpile, and we're just going to be able to go in here and storage. We can just drag them into the campfire, or we can drag them straight from the stockpile in here, and we can craft whatever we like. In this particular case, we're going to want to go for charred beets. So we've got 11 of those, and we'll order them, and that will cook them, and it will stop again once it finishes, so it's not going to continually use your wood. So we have plenty to get processed and to be carrying on into hewn logs. So that's going to be pretty good. And I want 12. There we go. Back to wood chopping. So our first beets are done. Let me just show you the difference. This is just raw tomato. Okay, 240 calories. Nutrition now provides 102.9 skill points per day. And beets, 470 calories, 112 skill per day. So the second number builds up as you get more and more calories, but you can see it's just a better food just for the basically having processed it, basically cooked it. So now I'm going to build the rest of the house as before. You are going to need a couple of the shapes, however. So if we just grab here, is there any hewn logs? There should be lots. Yeah, there we go. So what you also want to do is make sure you have a floor or ceiling, basically. Easiest one is to go with the floor block and just put it on top of everything else. So we can put it up here. Well, I forget that in the right place. There we go. And then you can build the ceiling out of that block, and it's suitable as a kind of a terrible wood hut to get started. And later, of course, that can be improved. And we can continue building that. and we'll get something, well, shortly. And my wonderful sort of workbench is now finished with a stockpile project, which means I should be able to pick up and plant a new stockpile, which is pretty good. If we just grab that, we can pop that down somewhere else. Probably just next to the original is fine, although somewhat near to the house will be useful at some point, but that's going to be blocked there, I would imagine. Is it? No, there should be fine. Okay, so you can see that's room cleared. And then if I basically picked up everything from here, I can basically dump it into the other one. So we can just move it. And it'll move out of our original stockpile into this one. And that contains a whole lot more goods that we can actually build up. And here we go. The room is now complete. You'll see it in a second, but you'll see this thing is unlocked at the bottom left, and that shows our house and furniture quality. So let's press next here, and we see the experience multiplier. So the better your house is, the more you tech up and the more stuff you add to it, the more your multiplier turns out to be, and it's going to become very, very useful. 4 different types of rooms: general, bedroom, bathroom, and the kitchen. Basically the general one is the one we're going to dump all of our, well, we're going to have multiple different stations to do different things, and then we want each of these sort of in proportion to have a nice bonus. High tier housing materials, yes, 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 tacking up, that will be very useful, and particular stations need particular kinds of rooms. Okay, so you can see I just completely gone for the cheapest possible route to this house here. Let me just actually pick that up and make it match on both sides, so we can at least have a wall there. And yeah, so this is technically a room, and you can see at the bottom right here it tells us what tier it is. The tier is important as well, because you need a certain tier before you can actually put certain machines down in it. You can see the tier is made up of whatever you make the thing out of. So we may want to replace the floor later, but it's not important to get started. And the room volume is 42. That is also very important. The stations typically start off needing 25, so you can get away with a little bit smaller room than this. I just thought I'd leave myself a little bit extra in case I want to just divide part of it off later, or just move it out by one to get a latrine, basically a bathroom that counts for the experience multiplier. So right now that's terrible, no furniture found. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to craft a carpentry table. That needs some of the regular logs, and it needs stone as well, processed stone that is. So processed limestone, I guess we can process 2 of it. Do we have any extra spare? We do not, so I'm going to need to continue to keep on getting more and more stuff. That's fine. Where are we at the moment? Carpentry table. I need 10 more logs, and I need 27 more stone. I want to click on this up here at the left, tutorial missions. They are going to leave fairly soon. There's not very many of them left. Experience gain is based on diet and housing. Yes, that's perfectly fine. Each level up you gain a star to discover speciality, and learning specialities give you bonuses and level up through use. Okay, so that's going to be fine, and it's going to basically give us some stars to get started. So down at the bottom left here, on a multiplayer server you might start it with 1. Here we're going to start out with 3 because it's assuming that we don't have other people helping. So there's whole different groups of skills here, and this is, I think that's changed a little bit since I last played this, but the one we'll start with is survivalist, and you can see inside here a specialization called self-improvement. And when we're at certain levels, you can see that we can gain savings in this particular one. So decreases calorie consumption by 25%, 35%, 40, 50, etc. as we go up. However, what it wants us to do for this particular sort of tutorial mission is to choose another specialization. So I'm going to go for the carpenter because it processes wood and lots of it. So we go into hewing, and hewing we can choose this star here. Okay. Yes, we're going to use that. And you can see now, we now have another sort of set of bars down here. You can see, I can see a character XP, so I will level up at the current XP rate in 45 minutes, in 45 in-game minutes that is. Hewing speciality will level up, and self-improvement speciality will level up based on the activities that I actually do. And that will gain you up through these trees to get lots of extra stuff, okay? So we're going to get started with that, and that will, I think, let us... well, the first thing we're going to want to do is maybe create a carpenter's bench, carpentry table, which we can do. Did I process everything I wanted to do first? We are also going to want a research table at some point soon as well. But I'm going to start with a carpentry table. I think? Maybe? Yeah, I'll just go for it. Okay. And that we're going to put in this room. Okay, and then we're also going to decorate this out a little bit to turn it into a bedroom, and it's also going to have that carpentry table in it. But the carpentry table is needed to make any of the other furniture, so I've moved both of my workbenches now. I've got two of them. I may even craft a third one, but for now it's perfectly fine. And I just want to process some more of the limestone if I can. Nope, that's all done. So back off to mining. I'll see you in a second to start into carpentry. So here's our carpentry table. We can put it wherever we like. I'm just going to put it against the back wall because we're not using that for anything else right now. And here we have a whole bunch of other stuff that we can actually make. Stuff like doors, you don't necessarily need if I'm single player, but you might want them in multiplayer to basically close off your building. Obviously, you need to build your building with more walls than I have, but you can put doors in place and you can create locks with them and stuff like that to stop other people coming in here. You can see latrines, so we can create a new room with that. But I think to get started, just to have this be a bedroom, we actually want a bed, and there is one down here. It's going to need some plant fibers, and it's going to need some boards, and it's going to need some hewn logs. So that is all going to work well. We can hew logs from in here. We don't need to use the workbench for that anymore. And the boards are also up here as well. You can see this one makes 2 for every 3 logs that come in. So, oh, and I think that's all my, I think that's all of my beets done. Yeah, there we go. And swap that out. And that means I get a decent amount of food to be able to do other stuff with. Okay, so from here, more wood it is, and that's the name of the game, at least for the start, for the first episode, or 2 maybe. But we are going to want to get this latrine fairly quickly to get a bathroom, essentially, in the place, and boards. So let me get those done. To get the plant fibers, you are going to need a stone scythe, which you don't start out with, so you're going to order one of those, and that will then let you basically reap any plants on the ground. You can see I already have some sort of wood, what is that actually called? Wood pulp. That's going to be used for other things. That's basically by chopping some of this on the floor. Now, if I remember rightly, there's something about leaving these around may have a chance to spawn more wood, but in this particular area near to my base, I don't particularly want that. Unfortunately, it is quite wasteful if I just do that to basically use up my calories. So yeah, not particularly great to do it, but sometimes you actually need to clear some room. There's our scythe, so if we just go and grab that, we can just clear some more room around the front of our house. And you can see when we do that, we should get some bits and pieces, hopefully. There we go, plant fibers, okay. And that's enough to get us started, and we can continue to reap more as and when we need to. And just by doing stuff, you'll see we've leveled up in our survivalist. I can now select talent choice. I'm going to go for sprinting versus diving, because I'm just moving around our land. I'm not sure exactly what the effects are. Maybe it'll tell me. No, it does not tell me. I assume it's just going to make it better for me to run around, which is perfectly fine for me. And then there's a bunch of other stuff we're going to need to get into. So I don't want to use up all my points straight away, but if you have any particular suggestions for if you've played single player, feel free to put them in the comments. For me, I'm going to want to probably go into Mason and get mining, because we're going to be mining a fair amount. So I'm going to take that. Yeah, that's going to permanently consume a star, which will basically let me use less calories by actually going to mine. We will probably also want mortaring as well soon enough. But that gives me down to 1 star, and then we can decide what we do with farming. So the first one in farming is gathering, and not going to actually touch that for the moment. I may, however, want cooking. Advanced campfire cooking gets us better recipes, and I'm going to go for that for now. Yep. Okay, so I'm down to 0 stars, but it shouldn't be long until, 31 minutes until I get another one. So I'm not too concerned about that. Plenty of other stuff to be done. And this carpentry table in here is crafting my bed, which will be done in 15 seconds, which will then upgrade this room. It's a bit dark, I know, but upgrade this room into a bedroom. So let's just clear out the rest of the floor. Okay. And let's get all of you done. There we go. We've got a bit of a better floor. And we'll be able to put some torches up or something. I think there is one already that it gives you by default. But in fact, does it already have it by default? Do we get a torch? Storage? Yeah, we do have a torch. So, but it has uses available. Fine. If I just go to 6. There we go. Everything's a little bit easier to see. And for my storage, I'm going to grab the bed wherever it is. There we go. And I also got a hoe as well to be able to basically get around and deal with, what was that? Oh, I've got an iron pickaxe. That must be for getting mining done. So I will take the iron pickaxe. That's perfectly fine with me. And let's just get the bed somewhere. It doesn't matter where I put that for the moment. So I'm just going to put it here. And that still doesn't count as a bedroom, it seems. Status. It's placed on solid ground, so it's definitely down. I don't have any things down here. Quality of your housing increases your XP multiplier. I'm going to craft a couple of pieces of furniture and put them in here. Probably just a table is enough to get us going, or indeed I may have to fill in some more of the walls. Back in a second. And then my table's ready, so let's just see if that actually makes any difference to the room. Let's just drop that in place here. And still nothing. So yeah, I am going to enclose the room, increase its quality a little bit more, and hopefully that will then count as a bedroom. So that's fine. I'm also then crafting a research station right now. That research table, I should say. That needs quite a big room, if I remember rightly, to be able to be placed down. So I may need to expand this before it gets done. But yeah, so I'm just going to continue to just hew some more logs, and we'll just fill in the walls here and see if that actually helps us. We've got 10 there, so... hewn logs are much cheaper to actually order from over here, so let's just basically make 10. And we'll start filling in the room, I guess. Okay, and let's see if we can get this picked up as an actual room. So let's just put a door in place, and look at our hammer, and let's get the walls all the way in place. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you count now? You still do not count as a house. Why not? Why do you not count as a house? No furniture found. There is furniture. It's right here. Honestly, I can see it. You can see it. I'm not sure why it's not counting. Picked it up, put it back down, worked fine. So if you're having problems with that, that should be fine. And then let's just put our bed here. And there you can see we have this. So it's showing up as a general room right now. Probably because I placed the table first rather than placing the bed first. If I just actually pick that back up again, does that actually revert? Yeah, that doesn't seem to count as furniture. How about if I'm wasting calories doing this, but I just want to see. What happens if I put the bed down first? Nope, that really isn't counting. Okay, fine. Must be something else that you need to put down. But the table works fine, and that's going to be the most important thing, that we get some kind of points there. And how are we doing on the next level? So 11 minutes until I level up, and then you can see all these other things are leveling up as well. Fine, so we now should have the research station as well, although I'm not sure we can actually fit it in here. There we go, research table. It's probably going to need a larger room than this. Let's just rotate it. Can't place there, blocked. Yeah, this sometimes problems. Let me just put it outside. It won't count outside, but I can at least place it. See what its requirements are. So it needs to be contained within a room. Yeah, it needs to be a certain tier of room, and it uses 25 meters cubed, or cubed meters, depending which way around you want me to say that. So yeah, it needs to be in its own area, so we are going to need an extension to our sort of house over here. I've started planting beets down. To do that, you just basically use the hoe on a piece of ground, and you can use the seeds, and I've done that with some of the trees as well. So there's some of the cedar tree seeds, acorns, basically have been dropped down, and hopefully they'll grow in the next few days, so I can get some renewable tree growth going rather than heading over to the forest over there. So I think that's pretty much okay for the first episode. We've got a hut going, we've got our carpentry station, and that's gonna work as far as that's concerned. Next episode, I'm basically cooking up some more tomatoes and some charred beets, and that'll let me fill this circle a little bit more down at the bottom left, and be a little more comfortable about running around and doing stuff. Anyway, if you've got tips and tricks, if you've played Eco before, feel free to put them in the comments down below, and we'll get to them in the next few episodes, I'm sure. If you like the episode, you want to see more of it, click on the thumbs up button down below, click on notify, or the bell if you're a subscriber to get notifications of more episodes, and we'll see you next time for some more Eco. As always, guys, thanks for watching.